What's up, Big 12 Nation? It is Tuesday night in America. That can mean only one thing. It's time for another edition of your favorite YouTube-centric college football Big 12 show. That's right. It's the one, it's the only, it is the biggest 12. With me, your host, Clint Foster, wherever you are. Thank you so much for making us a part of your Tuesday night. We are going to talk Houston Cougars football tonight. There it is, and we're going to mourn the season of Phi Slamma Jamma. Oh, so close. We'll talk a little bit about that, but not too much. We want to live in the present. We want to talk about football, and could be a lot to be excited about in the third ward heading into year 2 of Willie Fritz. We're going to talk all about it. But first, I need some things from you. Like and subscribe to the show, folks. There it is right there at Big 12 BOCFB. Give us a little subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 here. All right, now we can't do it without you. So if you're watching on Twitter, love you, baby. Hey, how you doing? Head on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's not very difficult. It's quite easy, actually. And, low effort on your part, big payoff, though, okay? You're going to help us grow this thing, help us turn it into the international phenomenon that I feel it very strongly it deserves to be. While you're subscribing and following things, subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations. The documentary is finished. I am working on some premiere stuff, some film festival stuff before I have my wide release on my channel. But you are going to see here in short order, I'm working on some extras, some deleted scenes I'm putting together to give you a little bit of taste of some of the things that won't be in the documentary. So you got to be subscribed to the channel to see them, and follow me on Twitter at Clint_Foster55 to hear my musings most recently about how I vehemently loathe my once beloved Dallas Mavericks. But you gotta follow me to catch that stuff. Connect with the voice of college football on Twitter and Instagram at VOCFB. We're doing all this great off-season content, and make sure you're catching the Biggest 12 live on your favorite audio platform: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, you name it, we're there. And before I say another thing, let me welcome in my guest of honor, my guest of the evening. We're talking Houston Cougars, so I had to bring him in. It's the one, it's the only, it's Bobby Malvez, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby, how you doing tonight?
Wonderful. It's another beautiful Tuesday in DFW. Perfect weather out, and really excited to talk Cougs like I do every Tuesday.
Yeah, man. We're going to double dip here for all of our people who love to lap up the Cougs content. Before we get into anything Cougars, though, I got to mention the big story in Big 12 football this week. What is your opinion on Shedeur and Travis Hunter getting their jerseys retired already for the spring game in Colorado?
Oh man, why are you doing this to me? I think Travis Hunter deserves it. Shedeur, I don't know if he would have his number retired if his dad wasn't the head coach, but Shedeur, I think, or not Shedeur. Travis, though, I feel like really kind of deserves it. He's, I would argue, one of the best players they've ever seen come through Colorado. So, yeah, I think he deserves it. Shedeur, though, I mean, okay. I think the thing that bothers me more is that Cordell Stewart doesn't have his number retired there.
Yes.
Shedeur Sanders is about to have his number retired there. That seems insane to me.
Yeah, well, there are Cordell Stewart. There are so many like transcendent players from those 90s teams, from those Bill McCartney teams. Yeah. And Rashawn Salam's the only one with his jersey number retired. I mean, I think it's too soon, no matter how you slice it. I mean, Travis Hunter, yes. Heisman winner, yes. Retire his number. But Shedeur Sanders, I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, that one's tough. That one's tough.
I don't know if you can unretire a number, but maybe they'll unretire that one in like a decade. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Good for them though. They're riding high. So do we need to do any post national championship therapy? I too am a national championship loser in a different sport, but I mean, do we need to unpack any of that, or are we ready to just talk about football today?
We can talk football. I've definitely, we've had our discussions on our pod. You make the national championship game, one team can be a champion. It's hard to be mad about, especially, kind of one of the things I heard and I, want to agree with is we won a game that we probably shouldn't have won, and we lost a game that we probably should have won. So, it's when you weigh it out that way, you kind of go, well, you got 50-50 on that. And that's kind of how sports go.
That is how sports go. It is. Well, before we get into the football conversation, we love to play a fun game on the Biggest 12 before we get things rolling. Last offseason, it was all about the tier lists. This year, I'm really leaning heavily into trivia. So, Bobby, it's just you. We weren't able to get Sam on. So, are you prepared for some City of Houston / Houston Cougar trivia?
Oh, man, I really wish Sam was here because he grew up in Houston. I am not a native Houstonian, but I'm ready for it. Hit me.
Okay, well, we'll see how you can do. Just be glad that
you may be getting me canceled today, but it's all right. It's all right.
Listen, it can't go worse than last week. I did a finish the John Denver lyric with Colorado, and they were 0 for 10. It was not.
I probably would have been 0 for 10 on that too. I'm just gonna be honest here.
But we got to determine between Colorado and West Virginia who are the rightful owners of John Denver.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay, so let's get our trivia rolling here, and just in time to get us started. You know him as almost a de facto co-host of the show. It's been a few weeks since he's been on, but folks, he was your Houston Cougar champion on our All Cat episode. It's Brownie, ladies and gentlemen. Brownie, how are you on this Tuesday?
Fantastic. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you great.
We got you.
You're just in time to watch Bobby suffer through 10 Houston-related trivia questions.
I was going to say, if I'm joining in on trivia, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. There it is. It didn't take long.
Yep.
Okay.
How long?
It helps when there's some Houston liquor in here, too.
There you go.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to start out with a couple of Houston football-centric questions. Okay, Bobby? So first of all, Houston has played every single current member of the Big 12. It's a pretty cool feather in your hat. They have never lost to 2 Big 12 teams. Who are those 2 teams? Current Big 12 teams that Houston is undefeated against.
All right, hold on.
Ooh, pick me.
I feel like one is going to be like Colorado, just because I don't feel we've played them a ton. And then no, I'm just kind of going through. We lost to Kansas. Not proud of that one. I'd have to go.
Fun fact, Bobby, you've actually never beaten Kansas. You're 0-5 against Kansas.
You know what? I actually did. Yeah. I know we're not good against Kansas. I'm gonna go Colorado, and then Arizona State.
So you're actually 0-1 against Colorado.
Okay.
Brownie, do you know? Are you gonna bail him out?
Utah is one of them.
Utah 5-0 against Utah, and we love you for that. Yeah.
Screw you, Utah.
Yes.
Utah fans, at me.
That was fun yelling at them at the game. We were like, you guys came in and said you were gonna dominate this conference, and you lost to us, and we're not good.
The second one, are they a part of the Big 8?
No.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And here's another clue for you. Houston has only played them once. They're 1-0 against this team.
Is it Arizona instead of Arizona
It's not
State?
Arizona, no.
Oh, no, because we lost to them this year. What am I talking about? Jesus.
Arizona, 3-2 against Arizona, 4-5 against Arizona State.
So would it'd have to either be Baylor, TCU.
But we played them in the Southwest Conference so often, I would imagine that we would have beat them.
Okay, so
not
it's
undefeated against them.
Okay, so it's the entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh man, gosh. It would have had to be somebody that you played last year then, right? UCF?
Guess.
No, you guys would have lost to UCF.
This game was in 2023.
2023. All right, first year of the Big 12. West Virginia?
It is West Virginia. Yes, there you go.
Oh my
West
Lord.
Virginia and Utah.
They were our first for 2023, 2024. That was our first win in Big 12 play versus in every sport. Soccer, it's insane how many times we have how many times we beat them for our first Big 12 win.
Is it really sad that I forgot West Virginia was in the Big 12 still?
Yeah, it is a little bit sad.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here and I was okay, well, if we're going overall, Utah was probably the safest bet because I knew that they clobbered Utah last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next one was thinking just Big 12 overall, and I was like, it'd have to be like TCU, Baylor, if it wasn't Big 8 related. And then all of a sudden you're like overall, and I was like, well, shit, that throws out the rest of the
Yeah.
Big 12 because
Yeah,
everybody
so-
else came from the American.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Riot Bros. Don't come at me.
Yeah. So, well, Bobby, you mentioned like y'all's first win in every sport against West Virginia. That's the same way it is for TCU with Kansas.
No,
First
nice.
ever baseball win was against Kansas. First ever football win was against Kansas. And somehow, first ever men's basketball win was also against Kansas.
Nice. That's awesome.
We literally won 2 Big 12 basketball games in 2012. And
That's
Kansas
awesome.
was the first one.
Been there.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So question number 2. Houston, as you know, Bobby, surely, won the Southwest Conference title in their inaugural season in 1976. Actually
sir.
beat Texas 30-0 that year. How many Southwest Conference titles did Houston win?
I feel like it's gonna be like 4.
4 is correct. Yes,
Yeah.
right on the money. Absolutely. And 3 of them were in the 70s. The 70s was a killer year
Yeah.
for Houston in the Southwest Conference.
That was
I'm
before my time.
gonna give you a 1 here. Save. We're gonna, this is my very high-tech scoreboard we have going
Here
on.
we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
1 out of 2. All right.
You should get a half
Last.
point because I bailed him out.
Well, yeah, I could probably give him half a point. Yeah. Last purely football-related question for you before we move into just Houston stuff. What was the first ever bowl game that Houston played in 1951?
Oh man, that is certainly a question.
My dad wasn't even a twinkle in his dad's eye yet.
Yeah, mine either. I feel like it's probably something like the Poinsettia Bowl or something ridiculous like that.
It is a ridiculous bowl. I don't think the Poinsettia Bowl was around yet in 51, but it was actually the Salad Bowl, which
You know, I
Houston
feel like
won
I did know
against
that.
Dayton. Houston
actually
beat
do
Dayton
feel
in
like
the
I knew
Salad
that.
Bowl.
Like somehow that's like hitting something in my brain that I
Yeah.
probably.
Wait. There was a literal bowl game
Yeah.
called the Salad Bowl.
Yeah.
The Salad Bowl. Can you imagine a less exciting bowl game to be a part of?
Not even like Dole Salad Bowl. It was just
Or like the Hidden
Salad.
Valley Ranch Salad Bowl. Yeah.
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 Oh my god, if there was a Hidden Valley Ranch bowl game, I would petition Iowa State be placed in that every single year.
Yeah. I mean,
I
we've
would
already got Duke
love-
Mayo. Why not? Right?
Yeah, I would love to see my head coach get doused in ranch.
Ugh, that's gonna smell foul after a little while.
Not my problem. I don't have to clean it up.
Okay.
Fair
So, Bobby, question 4. This Houstonian became the first African American in the U.S. Senate since Reconstruction and the first ever African American congresswoman from the South.
Is it Sheila Jackson Lee?
Not Sheila Jackson Lee.
All right.
Talking Congress. Do you have a second guess?
No.
Barbara Jordan is the answer. Barbara Jordan.
Okay. Okay.
She gave a great speech. Maybe you've seen this speech at the DNC, and I can't remember if this was the 70s or the 80s, but she talked about I have now been included in the We the People.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds familiar. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So, question 5. What artificial playing surface became famous for its use in Houston's 8th wonder of the world?
That's going to be AstroTurf.
AstroTurf is correct.
That one's easy.
Yes.
That one's easy. I
The
got
thing
that
that
one.
murders ACLs, and I hate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And it used to be worse. That's why Michael Irvin's career was as short as it was.
Yeah.
He always
Yeah,
used
I mean,
to
it
say
was
that.
literally tennis shoes with tape on it.
Yeah.
Like,
He
that's
used
all
to
you
say-
could
carpet.
wear.
Yeah.
He would always say that if he played in a different division for a different team, because you got to think Philly had it as well, and so did Giant Stadium, I think. And he
They
was
did.
like, if I played in a different division, I would have had double my numbers that I had. So and it ended his career early. Anyways.
Yeah. Yes. Hate that. All right. Question 6. You're 2 for 5. That's not terrible so far. I feel like the average is usually like 5, 6 correct answers in these, just to give you a barometer for where
Okay,
you're shooting,
okay.
Bobby. Okay. So, where in Houston did JFK give his famous "We choose to go to the moon" speech?
It's at Rice Stadium, and I know that because he took a pot shot at Rice. Like, imagine you're a fan. He comes into your stadium and he's like, why would these idiots want to play Texas? Because it's hard, because they
Yeah.
suck. Like, it's hilarious. Like, when you actually think about it, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
That he's
Oh,
like,
it's
why would you idiots want to play Texas? They're good, you're not. And it's like, oh.
because we're
it's hard, I
Americans.
guess.
That's what we
Because
do.
it's hard. Because
We
it's
do
hard,
hard
I guess.
things.
Like,
Yes.
so
Rice
funny
is
when you
only
think about
good academically, and you would think that they would understand that, but somehow they don't.
it. Yeah, yeah.
It's, honestly one of my favorite presidential speeches. I love that.
It is a great one. It is a good one. It is a good one.
And it's why my understanding is this is why Rice has never renovated their stadium, because it's a historic site, because JFK gave the speech there.
I didn't know that. I do know
Yeah.
that their bathrooms, when I was in college, you could still see the outline that said whites only. So, you know.
Wow.
Welcome to the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
It's
they literally
Texas.
cannot renovate anything about that stadium.
Welcome to. Well, no, they took the signs down, but you could still see like the outline of the letters because it just never gets used out. Because it's not like anybody goes to Rice football games anymore. So.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Okay. So Houston is the largest city in Texas. Where does Houston rank among the largest cities in America?
Fourth
is correct. Very nice. See, Bobby, you're doing great.
Coming close to third ahead of Atlanta, but both are really starting to expand now. Fun fact.
Hey, the number 4 in the rankings, and that's your 4th point. So we're doing good. Okay. So this is a little bit of a tough one. So we'll give you some leniency, and if I need to give you clues, we can do that. What two major events in Texas history contributed to Houston transforming from a small town to a major metropolitan center, which happens to be the largest concentration of oil refineries and petrochemical plants in the world? What 2 events led to that?
Jeez, I feel like, gosh.
One of them's kind of a gimme based on the question.
Yeah, the discovery of the oil in the Gulf.
So the oil boom, yes, the oil boom is one of the things.
So you have the oil boom, and then I feel like it would be like the deregulation of electricity or something like that, because that's like what really powered Enron out in California. Like that feels like something that was a thing.
I should have had an Enron question. Wow, that's a big fumble by me. I should have had an Enron question.
And then I think if you like go historically, it would be like the Battle of San Jacinto, like back in the day. But that feels too far. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're transforming it from a small town to a big city. Here's another clue for you. So you got the oil boom. This other thing is a natural disaster that had a major impact on the coast.
Oh, is it the Galveston hurricane of 1901?
The Galveston hurricane. Yes, that's it.
There we go. Okay.
So because Galveston used to be the city in Texas until the hurricane dang near wiped them off the face of the earth, and then Houston filled in the gap. So there you go.
They were like,
isn't Galveston real estate just going crazy right now too? Like selling for like $1 million for like a shack?
Yeah, maybe.
It goes back and forth. It sells well. It sells well in the winter, and then hurricane season hits, and everyone's like, "This is a bad idea, right?"
Hurricane insurance? Nonsense. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as hurricane insurance? I don't know.
Yes, it's included in your homeowner's insurance.
Oh, okay.
It's like tornado insurance here.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of the oil boom, what is the name of the first major oil well in Texas that was discovered near Beaumont?
I have no idea.
Like the actual name of it?
Gushed for 6 days. Yeah, the name of this oil well.
No, I have no idea. You can go ahead and count that one as a missed point by old Bobby here.
All right, the answer is Spindletop. Have you heard about Spindletop, either of you?
I've heard of Spindletop. I've heard the name Spindletop. I had no idea it was the
I'm pretty sure that's like a horror movie, like antagonist character or something is Spindletop.
I'm pretty sure how I know Spindletop from is it's a ride at Six Flags over Texas and Dallas.
Yeah, I think it is. I
feel like that's how I know it.
Which, by the way, Bob, hey, I'll give you an opportunity to earn back a point. Can you name these 6 flags over Texas?
Yes, it is Spain, France, Mexico, the state of Texas, the United States
Republic of Texas, excuse me.
The Republic of Texas. Thank you. The Confederacy and the United States.
There it is. There's your 6. I'll give you 6 just for that one. You got to know those 6
That's
flags.
Impressive.
Yeah. And by the way, the France one was an accident.
But we have a whole year. we get a whole year of Texas education. All right,
Yeah.
of Texas history. If there's I had a cousin move from Florida to Texas, and people would ask her how Texas was, and she would always say, like, Texas loves Texas, and
Yeah.
she is not wrong.
I got a tattoo to prove it. Okay.
Texas loves Texas.
Yeah.
Wait, how the hell did you guys get smacked with the French? Just like the furthest
So,
part of eastern
was-
Texas?
it was an
Because of
accident. So Charles de La Salle was navigating the Mississippi River for
Yep.
King Louis XIV, and he was supposed to be setting up a fort in Louisiana, which was a French possession, but he ended up in Matagorda Bay, and was like, "Oh yeah, this is part of the river, right?" And so he accidentally set
Wrong.
up a fort. Yeah, he set up a fort in Spanish territory, but he's like, "This is sovereign French territory," and everybody in the fort ended up dying. So it wasn't like Texas was ever a French possession, but because France was here, we counted as one of the Six Flags.
There you
Are you sure you want to admit that?
go.
Yeah, you know,
I mean, I
France-
have a lot of French heritage, and I don't want to admit it.
France used to be a lot cooler, to be fair. You know,
Valid.
prior to 1941, France was a lot cooler.
They let him eat cake, and look
Yeah.
at what happened.
Exactly. Okay, here's your last question, Bobby.
All right, here we go.
Known as the First Lady of Texas, what governor's daughter became a significant human being in Houston, philanthropist, mental health advocate, patron of the arts, and arguably one of the most important women in Texas of the 20th century? She has a
Man, I
very
wanna-
unfortunate name.
Whitney Houston.
Not Whitney Houston.
No, an unfortunate name.
She was the daughter of the governor and ended up becoming this huge philanthropist in Houston and elsewhere in Texas, but mostly in Houston.
I have no idea. And it's going to be one of those ones where you say it, I'm going to be like, son of a bitch. So
Okay, I'm going to give you a clue. Her dad, the governor, was Big Jim Hogg.
I have no idea.
It's I'm a hog. I'm a hog.
Okay.
Yes.
Why
Okay.
would you put
Okay.
your kid through that type of torture?
I know. Well, you know, it was 1890, and what can you do?
Yep.
But she became a big deal, right? She became a huge deal. So there you go. Hey, 6 points, Bobby. That ain't bad.
I'll take it.
It's right around average. So better than
Better
the
than me.
4 Houston Cougars have been football wise since joining the Big 12. And Bob, tell me, man. I mean, year 1 of Willie Fritz, there was things to feel good about, right? What are your expectations? What are the vibes going into year 2? Are you drinking any red Kool-Aid yet?
Oh, yeah. I think, last year heading into the season, my big thing was that the record may not be better, but this will be a better football team. And I left the season feeling that same way. You look at the record, 4-8. It doesn't jump off the page at you. There wasn't a ton to get excited about.
Well, you kicked TCU's butt, I'll tell you that.
Yep, and I was there for that, and that was a lot of fun. But it just was very much a you were more competitive in games at times. You had that stretch against Cincinnati and Iowa State where you didn't score anything and you just kind of looked not great. But then you go and you host Utah, you host Kansas State, you win those back-to-back games, you feel pretty good about it. You go on the road to Arizona, you look terrible. You look decent against Baylor, you look competitive against BYU. Zion Chris comes in, looks like a guy who can run the ball at least, didn't look great at quarterback. But then, heading into this season, you have a new offensive coordinator. Well, you have new offensive and defensive coordinators. And hopefully you fixed what would arguably be the part of your offense that was the worst. And that's the offensive line. You've brought in, I want to say 5 or 6 transfers. So you're going to have new starters across the entire offensive line except for one. So there were lots of problems with the offensive line. I thought that led to making our quarterbacks not look very good at times. I don't think the quarterbacks were as bad as they probably looked because of that offensive line. But what I will say is you also addressed the quarterback issue by bringing in Connor Weigman from Texas A&M, who I think when healthy will be a very good quarterback for the Cougs.
When healthy, he'll be straight bussin', dare I say.
Ooh,
For real,
straight
on God.
bussin'.
Okay, that seems like the sort of thing Connor Weigman would say. I would, the new offensive line is, it sounds good. It's one of those things that sounds good, but I would caution you, as someone, a TCU fan who got a whole lot of new offensive linemen last year, you still do need him to gel, right? So do you think that these guys will be able to gel and perform as a unit, at least by midway through the season?
That's what you're hoping for, right? It's really hard to tell which guys are going to gel and are they going to be able to gel. You're hoping that you do bring them in and that they are able to gel. That's kind of what your season's riding on heading into 2025, that those guys do gel. If they don't, I don't want to say that it's going to be a bad season, but if we spend another season trying to figure out who are the best 5 linemen, it could be a ugly year for the Cougs.
Do you see Connor Weigman as walking in and winning the job, or do you think there's going to be a quarterback competition?
I think if he's not starting game 1, something crazy has happened. Whether that is he's been injured or somehow Zeon Chris was able to win the job, but I don't see it as him coming in under the guise of there's going to be a competition. I think he came in being told he was going to be the starter, and that's just going to kind of be how it is. If he looks absolutely terrible in summer practice and things like that, something terrible has happened to Connor Weigman. So yeah, I don't think there's an active quarterback battle. I think he's going to be the starter. If he's not, it's going to be a bad season if he's not. That means something bad has gone down.
Well, let me ask you this then, and this is something I've been bringing up on just about every single one of these preview shows. The Big 12 has an insane quarterback class this year. So much talent across all 16 teams at quarterback. Where do you feel like Connor Weigman slots in as far as among the best quarterbacks in the Big 12? Where would you rank him? And if not at number 1, who do you think is the best quarterback in the Big 12 going into this year?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'll be honest, I haven't done a ton of looking forward to the other quarterbacks in the league. I'm going to say I don't think he's going to be number 1 because he has things to prove. I'd probably slot him in that 4-5 range. Just in what he's shown, I think his ceiling is very, very high. But I also think his floor is being injured and not being able to play. I think in the games in which he looked really, really good, he looked like one of the top quarterbacks in the country. In the games where he didn't look good, he looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the Power 5. So I think if he plays to the best of his ability and what we've seen at him, you could have a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Brownie, you've just been a passive observer here. Do you have anything to throw in about any of the things we've talked about so far?
The benefit of there being a school called the Iowa Hawkeyes is he will never be the worst quarterback in the Power 4s. Because that belongs to the Iowa Hawkeye quarterback. I don't care who they get. Because it is a proven statistic that they're the worst.
Yeah.
But I think that Weigman can probably fight for top half, but Big 12 is just loaded enough on talent, I think, at the quarterback position. And there was enough quarterbacks that proved themselves in the younger generation that are coming back again, that it's just going to be really hard, because I fear that we might not know who the best quarterback in the Big 12 is until the championship game. That's how concerning it is, because, you might be sitting there and, Rocco Beck. Do I expect Iowa State to have another 10-win season? Probably not. But, Rocco Beck might have the numbers to be the best Big 12 quarterback. He just doesn't have that win-loss. He might be sitting there at a 6-6 and have the best stats for quarterback. Avery Johnson, glorified running back, might have the best running numbers of all the quarterbacks because he doesn't know how to throw a football or even do a cute little shuffle pass. But again, he might have a strong season. Then you look at Arizona State, Leavitt coming back, had a fairly good season. I think that he's definitely going to hopefully improve and not have that sophomore slump type of thing happen to him. But I mean, if he becomes a more overall and well-rounded quarterback, he could be fighting for #1 spot.
Yeah.
And I mean, Utah, are they still trying to figure out how to get Cam Riesling back for another year? Is he going to be competing against that Florida kid that had like 12 years of eligibility? Because, like, if that's the case, maybe he has a great comeback story.
I mean, I for one am shocked that Houston wasn't willing to drop $8 million on a particular Tennessee transfer. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. You know?
Brother, if that happened to anybody in the Big 12, I would give them so much shit on the internet. So much.
Well, you know, Iowa quarterbacks may be the worst, but you know what's really the worst? Not having your business or personal brand seen on the internet. That's where the Biggest 12 is going to come in for you, okay? Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. See what our partner, Win Agency, here on the screen has to say about its sponsorship experience with us. Let's discuss how you can reach your target market. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com today. Let's make it happen. Let's do this together. So heading into fall camp, which is, you know, I know a ways away, but we got 16 teams to get through. So that's why we're talking about this in April. What do you feel like, Bobby, is your biggest question about this Houston team heading into fall camp?
Yeah, it's going to be that offensive line. Once again, can they mesh? Can they keep everything up? Can they protect Connor Weigman? That's what it's going to boil down to this season. I think the other question is, you lost both coordinators. Your defensive coordinator leaves, and he is taken by in-conference rival in Texas Tech. That one kind of hurts the ego a little bit. Does that defense fall off with a new DC? You bring in the defensive coordinator from Florida from the last 2 years, but really he lost play calling duties and wasn't able to, once he lost play calling duties, you kind of saw the Florida defense take an uptick. That's a little concerning, but you know, he was an SEC coordinator. People saw a lot of things in him. He was on Saban's staff for a little bit. So some really smart minds saw something in him. How does that work here in Houston? And then you have a new offensive coordinator as well. You let your offensive coordinator go, and you bring in the guy who I would argue was probably Coach Fritz's first choice to be his offensive coordinator in the first place, in Slade Nagel. Slade Nagel was with him at Tulane, ran a lot of those Tulane defenses. But what I will say is Slade Nagel did a really good job of, the reason why I think he went to LSU over taking the OC job at Houston last year was, I think it was really trying to get that Tulane job once Fritz left. And I think he wanted to stay on to see kind of what was going to happen and if he was going to get that job. And when he didn't, Houston had already picked up their offensive coordinator. And now he's at the job that he kind of was going to be at the year before.
Yeah. It will be interesting. I'm glad you brought up the defense, because that was going to be another one of my questions is, what's this defense going to look like now? Well, let's take a look at the schedule and how it's setting up for Houston and get it on the screen here.
I was going to say, that defense can't be any worse than last year.
I mean, yeah, there's nowhere to go but up, right? But here we go.
Are you talking about our defense?
Yeah.
Our defense was like top 30 last year. Our
Big
defense
12?
was... No, seriously, our defense was amazing last year. We were like top 30 we
couldn't do anything. I don't know why I'm talking crap. I mean, we couldn't do anything.
I'm like, wait a minute. You can talk about us, but damn it, we were good. We were good in on defense. Our offense was atrocious. But I don't know. Talk about our defense. Our defense.
Your defense let us put up 17 points in the second half after we were like, okay, maybe we should do things.
Our defense was our defense. Hold on. Now I gotta look this shit up. Now y'all got me. All right. Hold on. You sons of bitches. No, hold on.
Now I know
I mean,
how to
yeah,
trigger Houston fans. Just talk shit
Because
about
we were
defense.
good. We were bad at everything but that.
Your defense was worse than the Alamo.
It wasn't, though.
Watch it.
It wasn't.
Boom, boom. Now I
It
got a double
wasn't.
headshot on that one.
Okay. Our defense was 54th compared to the year before where they were like 110. All right, we were terrible. We were 54th.
I mean, good enough for Tech to want the coordinator, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
it
I
was
mean,
a good defense.
If you guys keep growing exponentially, you're going to be a top 25 defense.
It was a good defense, damn it.
Well, this isn't a good schedule. I'll tell you that. I've been complaining about TCU's schedule from stem to stern, but this one does not look fun either. Bobby, as you look at this schedule, what stands out to you? What problem areas do you see? Let's break it down together.
I think it's much easier than last year's schedule. Last year's schedule was brutal. I mean,
You do avoid Kansas State and Iowa State
you avoid Kansas State and
Kansas.
Iowa State.
and BYU. You don't have to play BYU. So actually, I take back everything I just said.
Yeah. I think the SFA Rice games, those are two games that you are dear God, I hope we're 2-0 at those. But then you get Colorado at home. I'll take that. That feels pretty good. Oregon State on the road. Who knows what Oregon State's going to be this year. And looking at the Big 12 schedule, I like that a lot of our, what I would say, more difficult games are actually at home. Tech at home. You get West Virginia at home. The TCU game at home. You do have to travel to UCF. When you go to UCF, they always make it their space race game, and they are doing that this year as well. So they always show up loud for that one. I believe it's going to be on a Friday. That's kind of my big takeaway, is that we have a lot of Friday games this year. I want to say we have 3.
2 Fridays and a Thursday is what I see.
Yeah, 2 Fridays and a Thursday. Yeah.
Also, how did you guys pull off a home away, home away, home away, home away, home away all the way through?
That's another thing that is just kind of, and then the kind of cheating with that is that you go to Rice. But when we noticed that, it was kind of one of those things we laughed about, because it's very much a like, you build your schedule on NCAA football 2025. And you're like, all right, I need 6 home games, 6 away games, and then you end up doing it home away, home away, home away like that.
You only leave the state of Texas 4 times.
Yeah,
and one of those is nice. Stillwater.
Which I was going to say is honestly like the biggest trip concern going to be that Arizona State to UCF span. I guess, I mean, you could add TCU, but you're going Arizona State back home, then you're going to Florida back home.
Yeah, I think for me, though, you have that time back home, and that is if you were going road there, or if you had to
double road.
Yeah, if you had to double road on one of those, maybe not. Maybe you're not a huge fan of that, but you're going to have 2 weeks at home. You play Arizona State, and then you play Arizona State, right? And then you get to travel home, and you're going to have the week after leading up to the West Virginia game, then the week after the West Virginia game going to UCF. Now, you are going to UCF on a short week, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it kind of is what it is, and you're going to have a bye week the following week playing TCU, and you don't have to travel too far for that.
Right.
I'm trying to see if we can get y'all bowl eligible out of this schedule. I think there's a path.
No, that is, I think some of our more excitable fans are going 8 wins, and look, when you go 4-8, I'm very much in this is going to be a slow build, but we had people clamoring for a bowl game last year, and it's like, guys, we won 4 games the year before, new staff, who knows? This year, I think 6 is definitely doable. I think as you go through it, you look at SFA, that's 1, and we haven't had to use because we haven't gone to the bowl, we haven't used the FCS. You can only do it once every 2 years as a win. So you get the SFA, you have Rice. I kind of like the matchup versus Oregon State. I like the matchup versus Colorado. I
think y'all could sneak up on Colorado. I'm gonna call it right now. I think y'all can win that Colorado game.
Yeah, I do too.
I personally think Houston starts off 4-0.
Yeah,
If I'm
you
being
could
brutally honest, I think
you
that
could
that
easily see
Colorado
4-0
game is a
there.
trap game for Colorado
Yeah,
that
big
early
time.
in the season.
With
Yeah.
a brand new transfer quarterback and, all the turnover.
I mean, I
Yep.
can seriously like. I think the biggest concern is going to be more of like that back end
Yeah.
than really the front end. I think you guys need to power through and try to get to that like 4 or 5 win before you guys leave Stillwater, and then I
Yeah,
think you
I
guys
think
can pluck 2 games out of the backside.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think there's a chance I think if everything's going right, this team has a chance to be 5-0 looking at a ranked Houston. Not saying that we should be ranked, but a 5-0 team usually gets ranked. If you go in if you are playing Texas Tech, you beat Texas Tech. I'm not saying we'll be favored or anything
That
like
is a
that.
big ask this year, but yeah.
It's an
Mhm.
ask, yes. But if you can pull that one off and you're 5-0, Oklahoma State, there's a chance you could be 6-0 here if everything's going right. And then you just got to hold on for dear life. You're 6-0, you're going to make the bowl. Can you then get to 8 wins? You could maybe talk yourself into it. Even if you lose that Tech game, you're 5-1. If you depending on how you play Oklahoma State, I think that Oklahoma State game's a toss up. Right? You got to upset Tech. I think if Oak State is what they were last year, you got a good chance of being 5-1 going into the back half of the season. You're going to be able to snipe one from somebody, whether it's West Virginia,
Arizona.
Arizona, even though
Mhm.
they waxed us this year, but you get Arizona at home. You maybe do something in that space race game versus UCF.
Mm.
They got a new coach. It depends on how they're kind of meshing this year. So I don't think 6 wins is out of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that'd be big.
I
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I have 6 to 7 for them. I think in one of my preseason picks, I actually had you guys going 4-2 through the first 6 with your
Which
two
I think is
losses.
fair.
Your 2 losses, Colorado and Tech, and then I had you guys plucking your other 2 guaranteed wins at against Arizona and West Virginia because I don't think Rich Rod's going to be able to fully turn that ship around quite yet.
Mhm.
And then my toss
It's
up was
also always a
UCF.
different team on the road, too.
Yeah, and my big question mark was UCF.
Yeah.
Like, does Scott
I think
Frost really have it to be a P4 guy? Like,
Mm.
he
and I
didn't
also
have it in
think
Nebraska, and now he's back at UCF where Gus Malzahn made it absolute dookie. So
Yeah, I think if that game's at home, you favor U of H in that game though.
yeah, I think that specific game it's always going to be the favorite of who's home
Yeah.
unless otherwise proven the previous year.
Right.
So, like, what's your confidence level then, Bobby? Like, are you willing to, like, I don't know, make a bet live on the air about whether or not Houston makes a bowl game? You will do X, or I don't know.
It depends on what the bet is. I can be talked into some stuff, but you know, I think I I would say I'm fairly confident in it, in the 6, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it didn't happen. Like you have it's just such a relative unknown with what's going to happen with Weigman in that offensive line. I don't
Mhm.
have nearly the fear that I do um of the defense taking a step back as I do just I don't know what this offense is going to look like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Houston does make a bowl game, right, then Willie Fritz is very much on track. He's turning Houston into the winner that you thought he was going to. I mean, I think, Bobby, my other question for you is how long realistically, and do you think Willie Fritz can turn Houston into a team that is regularly competing for Arlington? How long is that going to take?
Obviously it won't be this year. It probably won't be the year after, but if you start to look at some of the things he's building in terms of his recruiting classes, uh we have hold on, I'm blanking on his name. Keyshawn Henderson coming in, who is a consensus 5-star quarterback. And I think Weigman is going to be his the guy who gets us to a place where everyone gets excited leading up to that. It is kind of the bridge to get us to our 5-star guy who has offers from anybody and everybody in the country that you could think of. You look at his 247 rating. He's the number 5 ranked recruit in the country, second quarterback, first in Texas. His 24/7 composite number is a 99. I think he's class of 26. I don't know if he plays in 26. But if it's 26 and he's not quite ready, what does it look like going into 27? I think is a realistic goal for U of H to kind of look at where we're at and competing for Arlington. I think 26 is kind of where 27 would be my goal to start really there. But if we can be 26 and we're at least sniffing it, and where you're not out of it, 4 conference games in, you can go to the last 2 games of the season thinking that you have a chance to get in. I think that would probably be 26, and then 27 might be the year where the Cougs start to really make some noise in the conference.
All right, something to look forward to. Last question I got for you, and Brownie, you can hold off on answering this until the Iowa State night. But Bobby, who is your prediction for the 2 teams in Arlington at the end of next season?
Ooh, despite everything that I said, I'm going to go Texas Tech, and then Arizona State again. I think the quarterback play has just been really, really good. Can they do it back-to-back years? I know it's tough to do. I'm not saying I necessarily think they will win in Arlington, but until I think it would be different if it felt like that team lost all their significant starters heading into the season, but you keep your quarterback. They have a decent amount of guys returning. I think Arizona State is kind of until they are knocked off this year, they got to be kind of the favorites heading in.
There will be no liquor left in Arlington, folks. Bobby, thanks so much for jumping on the show, and Brownie, thanks for coming out too. Tell the people where they can find you.
We are the Scott and Holman podcast. That's pod with a WPAWD. You can also follow me at #1Coug on Twitter and Blue Sky. And the podcast is SH Podcast on Twitter and Blue Sky as well.
There you go. Brownie, tell the people where they can find you.
If you haven't found me by now, that's on you. At Hoosier Burner on Twitter. At Wide Right Natty Light Brownie for Blue Sky. Also check out our website, widerightnattylight.com. We're going to be having some of our football previews for position outlooks here shortly. So stay tuned.
All right. Please do subscribe to the show, folks, at Big 12 BOCFB. We need you to make this a thing. Okay, let's get to 1,000. I can't do it without you. Come on, make it happen, baby. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your relatives, tell everybody. And follow me, my personal YouTube channel at Clint Foster Creations, and on Twitter at Clint_Foster55. Hope you got your taxes done, or if not, good on you, you little rebel. You just keep sticking it to the man. I wish you all the best. And next week on the show, let's see, who do we have next week? I should have looked this up
guy.
already. Is it right? Is it ISU week?
It's ISU week next week.
Okay, yes, Iowa State next Tuesday. So be here, be square. Until then, I love you. I hope your team wins, and go Big 12.
Unless you're Utah, bye.
Unless you're Utah.